for gender, and we started our discussion on the basis that at the onset, we were not at nil, we were at some point, and so the key is whereby if where it's drawn, it's before pedal, and then the playing parts is after pedal. Now, with course alignment, those consensus among the majority, because unfortunately we're few, one, and secondly, some of us also are yet to implement, because soon after the training, then they went on recess, and therefore they've not been able to actually apply pedal. So we are at 60% on average, and then on teaching methodology and also theories, we combine the two. We feel that we didn't start at 0. On average, it was at 20%, and we are now at an average of 70%. And then on assessments, we feel that we were at about 18–20% thereabout, and with the application of pedal, what we've learned in pedal, then we've moved to, again, about slightly over 60%. And then there's technology-enhanced learning. Now here, there was a little challenge, because as much as then we have the information on what we've learned in pedal, application became a challenge, simply because of a lot of issues beyond our control as individual lecturers. And in most of our universities, what has come out is that we are bogged down by, things such as lack of the actual facilities. And for that reason, it's at, we started about 5%, and there's not much movement specifically because of lack of facilities, and therefore we're somewhere at about 25%. But we are also in consensus that if we had the facilities, we'd probably be somewhere beyond 50%. And therefore, that is somewhere, an area that requires, a lot of restructuring by the institutions. And then we also went ahead and tried to analyze, given that it was a gender group, tried to analyze, the gender mainstreaming aspect, not just on our part as lecturers, but also in terms of the entire program, pedal program. And we feel that, okay, I have to say that, given that it's our area of expertise, we feel that, that there's a little more that pedal can do in terms of the content that is being imparted on us to ensure gender mainstreaming in the pedagogy in general. And we felt that maybe it would be a little bit unfair assessment, given that it's our area of expertise. But yes, we must mention that we feel much more can be done in terms of the content that is being imparted to learners here to ensure gender mainstreaming in the entire program.
Oh, that's a unique way of clapping. All right, thank you. Do we have any question? The group? Okay.
Thank you. I was just thinking that the plotted graph seems to have shot the threshold. I don't know whether I'm right or not, but I'm feeling that it has. I think 5 was given as max. Is that? Max? No, you give us a threshold. Yes. And that's why. Yes. This graph has overshot that threshold. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that that was intentional or a mistake.
Group members, you can clarify that?
This is the time.
Yes.
Use the mic. August 2018.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
This is
So you read the marks. Oh, thank you.
No, we have that's
The problem solved then? Okay. Any other question?
Thank you. The team mentioned that as gender experts, they feel that there are some areas in which Pedal can deepen the content. Can we kindly share more specific details of that? Because we are keen to improve the content for future trainings. So to help us, if they can identify the specific areas which they feel the content can be improved.
Okay. What I can say is, among us also, okay, well, like 4 of us, and we happened luckily to be joined by at least one who was not from gender. And what has come out is that as much as we, as the experts, felt it was short and could be enhanced, this particular individual felt that, you know, given it was his first time, it was perfect and the impact was great. So what I'm saying, in other words, is really we probably need to actually sit with that content and probably, you know, help in redesigning it a bit so that we're not going to give like specific areas, but, you know, in totality, we feel that more can be done. So we can only go into that detail if we are to look at the entire, the actual content, you know, at a sitting. So not specifically, but it was a general feeling among all of us that apart from one who was not a gender practitioner, that really content can be enhanced. So we're not going to go into specificities this time, but generally we felt that much more can be done. So I want to be very specific.
All right, thank you very much. I just want to raise this observation that as we also identify the challenges, it will be good to think about the way forward. How do we overcome those challenges? Because this is a work that we do on a daily basis. If you are teaching and there are some difficulties that constrain your teaching and learning, it will be good to engage amongst ourselves to find out a better alternative. And probably we may have to reflect that also in our course outlines as we review them and in our teaching plan sessions. All right.
Some of the challenges we identified are things that are beyond our control. Like in a, someone said, using the technology enhanced learning no, not that the learning theories, that she had problem because at times she has only someone said too little class. The class is too small. You have just 1 student, 2 students. How would you engage them in the role play, in the simulation? And there are cases of where there's a large class. So these are things that are beyond, I mean, there are some challenges that are beyond our own control.
All right. Yeah, probably they require more involvement of more actors.
So we are still gathering feedback from our participants, our guest lecturers, and our presenters as well. We are still coming to you live from Mombasa, White Sand Beach Hotel, Nairobi. Sorry, not Nairobi, Kenya. We are privileged to have one of our guest facilitators. She made STEM look so simple to us yesterday, and we want to have a moment with her. Prof, you are welcome to AUTV.
Thank you.
Great. I know your name, but you tell us your name, your university, and then also your portfolio in that institution.
Okay, my name is Oyedunton Adediran. I'm from University of Ibadan, Nigeria. and I'm a veterinarian. I teach veterinary parasitology, the head of Department of Veterinary Parasitology, University of Ibadan.
It appears University of Ibadan is so much strong in the pedal. In terms of participants, you have the highest.
Well, that's because from the first taste of what pedal has to offer, the uptake was from not just the participants there, but straight up to the Vice Chancellor. So we had the support of the Vice Chancellor to enlarge, to step down, to train. He actually wants us to train all academic staff. So that's why the uptake is so strong, and University of Ibadan seems to be very, very strong in this.
So what is all about pedal? You know, when there's a new wind, people want to know what is it about pedal that makes teaching, learning in our university so unique that everybody must join?
Well, my own first taste of pedal was February this year at Entebbe in Uganda. I went for a training there, and it was like a wow. This is it. This is what we need to make sure that our education, our higher education in particular, is very relevant to the society we're living in, especially in Africa. You know, the mode of delivery was broken down to what you could easily relate with and what the learner could also easily relate with when you're teaching a particular subject, topic, course. You know, it has an holistic view of teaching and learning, such that it's no longer the teacher downloading. It's not like the teacher just giving the information. The learner is encouraged, is stimulated, is motivated now to learn, to acquire knowledge in his own way, such that at the end of the day, you are not going to be grading a fish on its ability to climb the tree. Rather, you grade a fish on its ability to swim in water. Each learner can find his niche if the pedagogy strategies are appropriately applied to teaching that higher education.
Great. And this is fantastic. I wish every academic on the continent really has some of these things in mind. Yesterday, one of the key things that came out was that every lecturer in our universities in Africa must have access to this data, must have access to this training. How do we do that?
It's really very important. For example, let me use the University of Ibadan as a case point. After a few of our staff were trained by PEDAL, and the Vice Chancellor was invited at a point in time, and he also saw what this was. We went back home, and then we spoke through the postgraduate college to the Vice Chancellor on the need for us to be trained to do certain things better than we are currently doing it, for better delivery. So we started first through the postgraduate college to do a curriculum design training. And so that was the first part. And after that, the news went round. By the time the university now organized a full pedagogy training for about 250 academic staff members, the awareness was already very high. And when we thought, oh, how can you bring in people from morning till evening and expect them to stay, we were pleasantly surprised. Because as we started from the first day, people were already motivated. It was like this was what we were yearning for, to make us more effective. And so that was the way we did it. That's the way to go about it. Now we have 250 from various faculties. Now let me take my own faculty as a case point. We have formed a pedal group. 11 of us were at the training. 1 from every department, 2 from my own department, because I'm head of department and I'm privileged to have been trained through PEDAL. So I was there partly as somebody being trained and partly as an accessory to the trainers. And then somebody from my department, that made us 11. The 11 of us had formed a group. We had gone to the dean to inform him that this training must be stepped down to every faculty member. So currently they are at home now meeting and planning the date for me to arrive, and then we can now see how we organize this training, maybe 2, 3, 4 days, just showing them basically what we need to do to be more effective. So that way, I believe every academic staff in every university can have a taste.
Absolutely wonderful. Yesterday, I picked one key thing from your presentation. You made a very good statement that STEM is not a subject, but it is the application of science, technology, mathematics in everything that we do. And it was mind-blowing. Can you just tell us why you think that statement is valid?
STEM is an integrative approach. It's a process. The skills that are acquired from science, technology, engineering, and mathematics being applied. And I said everybody applies STEM in one way or the other. And if you remember, I made the example of the woman roasting plantain or maize, and then she has to balance the wire mesh or the coal pot and make sure that not too much to this side, not too much to that side. That is STEM in action. And in as much as we make learners to understand that STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, has application in everyday life, we cannot stimulate them to go higher into it or go deeper into it. So for me, and generally, STEM is an integrative approach. It's a process. It's bringing in science into technology. It's bringing engineering and mathematics together. And like I said, remember, if you remember also, it's not enough for us to train engineers who will say, okay, this thickness of this pipe made from this will actually transmit heat at this rate, without them being able to say, okay, if the joints are made from this, the nuts at the joints are made from this metal, what will be the conduction rate at that joint because it is from this metal? What will be the effect of corrosion? What will be the effect of abrasion? You know? But when they're able to bring the knowledge of science, chemistry into it, they can now, as engineers, determine how best to apply the instruments that they have.
So would you agree with me that, now on the continent, everyone is talking about STEM? All policies and interventions and scholarships, sponsorship, everything is going into STEM, leaving the other subjects behind. Do you think that from your own point of view, it is the right way to go for Africa, or we need to integrate all of them?
No, I don't think STEM should be focused upon to the detriment of other disciplines like the arts and humanities. Like we always say, there's art in science and there's science in art. So we cannot devolve science of the arts and humanities. And like I said yesterday, if an artist wants to draw, he must be able to draw proportionately. That is science. And like I also said, it is nothing to train somebody in STEM if that person does not have the human core values that will make that training relevant, applicable, and properly utilized for the societal good. So, in effect, if Africa needs to know their history too, where are we coming from? How far have we come? Where are we currently? And where are we going? That is history. And like I said, it's easier to stimulate students when they're able to follow the history of, okay, the first person that attempted to manufacture an aeroplane, something that can fly, how he started, where he went from there, and finally how we got to where we are today. That is history. So it plays a role. Their eyes are opened. They begin to see opportunities around them. This person started from here, and look at how and where we are today. So it's not good for us in Africa to focus on STEM and leave other things. It has to be hand in hand, working together. They always say that a people without history, what happens to them. But it is necessary for us in Africa to have policies that has not just the action plan, but implementation plan, and also to follow through. It's not enough we sit down in big committees, we make policies, every country must have this, you must adopt this is what we want to achieve, but how are we going to achieve it? How do we bring things together from kindergarten up to higher education? That is what we need, a systematic approach, an action plan, implementation plan that will follow through.
I must admit that you are a great teacher. I enjoyed your lesson yesterday, and I hope that I will get the opportunity to listen to you again. Thank you so much for talking to us. Great.